Okay, welcome to the Unshakable Foundation meeting of Cocaine Anonymous. This is a main share meeting, and today it's with a lot of gratitude that I'm welcoming Jack D all the way from Baltimore. He's come to share around 40 minutes around the topic of a design for living that works in rough going, after which we'll open up for 15 minutes of Q&A. So with that, Jack, it's over to you.
Thank you, sir. Happy to be here. My name is Jack Devlin, and I'm a recovered addict. And I live in Baltimore, Maryland currently. I have a DAA home group, meets Thursday nights, Northern Baltimore City, called the Charm City Group. I also have an AA home group, and I'm really happy to be in a CA meeting. Life is a trip, that's for sure. And never thought that I'd be happy to be in a meeting of any sort, really. I've never been a fan of work or school or any real place where you got meetings, unless it's a meeting of the minds, blowing lines, you know what I mean? Figuring out all the problems and just trying to see who's going to give me another Newport short. Yeah, I just, my life has changed so much as a result of trying to do what's here. I'm not the guy that's done a lot right. I'm definitely not the guy that hasn't really struggled, primarily self-induced struggle after getting here and getting armed with some facts and having an opportunity to be helpful and be useful and have an opportunity to go through the steps, and that's not AA's fault or CA's fault or DAA's fault or any A's fault. That's my fault. That's the illness that was talked about in the opening readings fault. That is a condition inside of me that drives me to seek relief. There's a condition inside of me that drives me, that separates me from you, even after I'm here, as I'm trying to get here, and while I try to stay here. I too am here with a lot of gratitude, and not just kind of words, Young, but just like I'm really happy to be sitting here right now, and it's a wonderful topic, and it's been an interesting time recently. Got a phone call about a month ago, I guess now, a little more maybe, that as a result of going back through the steps in the fall of 2018, at a conference actually up in New Jersey, and re-engaging in the 9th step, I ended up having to face some legal consequences of my actions that while I was sober. While I was sober. Before I got to, I'm a guy, like I was born in like the northern part of Baltimore City. I was raised there. It's like almost to the county line. It's where the colleges and the private schools are. It's Baltimore, but it's really nice. I'm about a 7-minute drive from where The Wire was filmed, and I spent a lot of time there. I like raw heroin. I like scramble heroin. I like Xanax. I like cocaine, and I like whiskey. I like anything that takes me away from myself, and I like things that give me relief from the mind that doesn't stop and from some condition inside of me that's just not okay wherever I am. And eventually that doesn't work. Eventually I ended up in detoxes, hospitals, and a rehab, and found my way to you guys through a treatment center, and then a halfway house, and people carrying a message, and then going to meetings and getting a sponsor. And I sat around for a couple of years and didn't work the steps out of the big book and didn't have an experience. I tried to, I looked at it, I did some stuff, but I was just so wrapped around myself. And eventually I relapsed, and I really didn't want to. August 2012. I was 2 years sober. I was in a meeting every day. I wanted to stay here. I wanted to be a part of you guys. I knew I wanted to be sober. I knew I needed to be sober by the time I was 16, 17 years old. There was no doubt in my mind. Anybody in my family was very clear. I finally made it to you guys at 23. I'm 25 and I'm coming unglued sitting in meetings, literally, but only internally. I don't tell anybody that. I'm not stupid. You know what I mean? I don't want anybody to know. You know, like I'm like, I'm good. I'm grateful. I'm happy. I'm okay. I'm sharing. I'm caring. I'm loving. I'm whatever. And eventually I can't stay here. And I find myself behind the wheel of a car and I'm going to buy 10 bags of raw heroin from a guy that months prior was a sponsee brother, you know, who had relapsed as well. And he has since passed away, which is just, you know, the nature of the illness. And, you know, I hope his family is all right. But there's no reason why all the people that I know that are dead and I'm alive. I don't, you know, other than purpose and whatever, maybe to do something, but I got no reason. I don't deserve anything more than anyone else. And I just feel fortunate to be here. But I get here and I come back from that relapse and someone carries a message on a speaker tape about a sober condition driving them to get unsober, even though they wanted to stay sober. And I don't know if that's how they said it, but that's how I heard it. And that's how it's never changed. That's simplicity. Because the one thing I knew when I got here was allergy. I didn't have that word, but I knew once I put it in me, I can't stop. I never wanted to stop anyway, to be quite honest with you. There were points at the end, but I never wanted 2 or 4 or 3.5. You know, I wanted to be blasted. I wanted to figure out a way to stay completely obliterated and not ruin my life forever. I failed, but I gave it a shot, y'all. You know what I mean? Like I want you to know I tried. I didn't just, you know, I tried, but I failed. Anyway, this guy's talking about a sober condition driving him to get unsober, even though all he wants to do is stay sober. And when you really dive into that, that's a really serious problem to have if you want to be sober. And sobriety itself is forcing you against your own willpower to get not sober when all you want to do is be sober and you are sober. What do I do? And so that message grabbed me and it's held me ever since. My life's never been the same. But I didn't run through the 12 steps and start practicing these principles in all my affairs and make all my amends and actually become changed fundamentally. I started yelling about step 1 and ended up moving to California and trying to make a bunch of money and managing my own life and not making those amends and not really being sponsorable or sponsored for years, which for a guy like me does not go well. I move way too quickly and I have way too many good ideas. I need help, man. I need supervision. I need help, man. I need big help. You know, I need God's help, but I need a couple soldiers down here. Just kind of couple clicks back to center there. Wild man, you know, just slow down, big dog, and let's really think about how selfish you actually might be. I know it's shocking to you, Jack, but this actually might be your fault again. You know, I need that guy. I got that guy. I got a couple of them, but I got one who I trust with blankly. What a gift. What a gift to have someone in your life that knows everything about you and that you really actually trust with anything. That's crazy. I get re-engaged in the steps. So 7 minutes later, we come to the phone call that I got a month ago. And as a result of going back to the steps, burning my life to the ground in California, trying to be a big shot, I go back to the steps. And I got a phone call a month ago that a sentencing date that had been postponed for 5 years, right? Every 4 to 6 months gets pushed back, that the government, the prosecution was ready to proceed. And this is for conspiracy to commit healthcare fraud while I was living in California. And my life today is very, very full. And it's very, very rich. And I don't mean with money. But it has like there is a fiber, there is a feeling, there is an element to my life that just like feels like good fruit, you know, like something just very rich but very real. And it's not because my wife is the most beautiful, wonderful human in the world, or my home group is incredible. All those things are true, but there's just like, and so the proposition of having that taken away from me, or me having to sacrifice a couple of years of that, I immediately get very, very scared and bow up against it. So the last, little bit of time, today, 2 weeks ago, I would have called it rough going, like it says in here. Today, I wouldn't call it that, which is awesome, because God's a badass. That's why. That's the reason for that. But 2 weeks ago, I would have said, it's been rough, because I was making it rough. I was making it way rougher than it needed to be, and it's really cool. The part of the book where this line is from, this topic, it's a design that really works in rough going, out of Bill's story, when Bill's coming out of talking about Ebby emphasized, which I like to try to do now and didn't hear for years, the absolute necessity of demonstrating these principles in all my affairs. That's the paragraph right before the one where it ends with, this is my design for living. And I'll tell you why I didn't emphasize that, because I wasn't doing it. So I'm not emphasizing something I'm not doing. I never have. Like when I sponsored guys years and years ago, I didn't emphasize the 9th step. I didn't try to walk with them through the hardest amends. I hadn't had that experience, man. I made a couple of amends, kept it moving. I want to sponsor people. I want to make amends. I want to sponsor people. Still to this day. Jack, what would you rather do? Meet with a new man and read the book, or go admit that you were wrong to some? Come on, man. That's a dumb. What would I rather? What's probably more beneficial to me? I don't know. It depends on the day or the week, maybe. But I never did that, so I didn't do. It's very interesting that when we talk about the 12 steps, a lot of times that's not where we always jump to. And it's become really important to me because I'm just really bad at it and have been really terrible, and have been a guy in Alcoholics Anonymous that I've had to go and make amends to many people, many places, for my conduct, sober, in AA, carrying a big book, full knowledge of problem, solution, page numbers, whole nine. And I got to go and say, I was just a terrible representation of AA. I didn't represent AA. I wasn't walking with principle. So, but I can't do that. See, I can't demonstrate principles in all my affairs without a rather profound spiritual experience, and then continued action to continue to foster the relationship that I got so acquainted with as a result of that spiritual experience or awakening, or whatever words you may like to use. So to me, it makes a lot of sense that this stuff is all it's very circular. It's very interwoven. It's very, it very much is, it is very together. But the design for living that works in rough going that they were talking about getting knee to knee, man. He was going back to the hospital. Yo, doc, let me in. Let me in, bro. I know you just let me out. Let me back in. And I'm not drinking. I'm trying to talk to him. I'm not drinking, but I need to talk to him. You know why, doc? Because I'm sitting at home thinking about myself all day, man. And I'm going to drink again, dude. Something bad's going to happen, doc. Help. I don't, and with some misgiving, they consented, right? That's somewhere else. But he would go to the local hospital and he would leave uplifted. I think it's really cool where it moves in the book, where it goes immediately. It talks about this is how my wife and I abandoned us. This is how many friends, we commenced to make many fast friends, and a fellowship has grown up among us, of which it is a wonderful thing to feel a part. That didn't happen poof. You're not, oh, hey, I came to this fellowship and it was wonderful, and it's wonderful to feel a part of it. The fellowship, and again, y'all got me for 26 more minutes, just my experience, probably some opinions and whatever else fettered in, plus the book. I'll do my best to but the truth is, to me, that sounds like the fellowship of the Spirit. That's the fellowship I'm currently a part of in Baltimore. That line hits home to me in a way that is very, very real. I'm married. We were moved here as a result of being arrested by the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Ended up starting a meeting, Big Book based. Started working with others one-on-one, knee to knee. Tonight, Tuesday night, in a few hours, I'll be in a church in northern Baltimore City, same neighborhood I used to run in, right across the 28th Street Bridge, and there'll be 50, 60, 70, 80 people there. And a whole bunch of them I'll know, because God is incredible. The book Alcoholics Anonymous has some great instructions in it, and a whole bunch of wonderful people like you let me stay even after I was an atrocious member of AA. Continued to point me back to, as I went back through the process, got re-engaged in the 9 steps, ended up here, my sponsor and the people around me and the men I still listen to and know and love, they're still doing this. They're still working with others. They're still sitting knee to knee or phone to phone or earphone to earphone or modem to modem. They are still with others. And as a result of that, a fellowship has grown up among my wife and I. That's insane. Obviously, much different, much harder back then. I'm not trying to equate myself and Cleo to Bill and Lois in any way, shape, or form, except that those words, the words on that page, you could take them and write them on my coffee table downstairs. And if my wife and I looked at them long enough, we'd probably start crying. That's the truth, because that's what happened to us. And we were so scared, man. We were so scared. This poor girl had to go back across the country because I got arrested here. She had to go back across the country and move our whole lives across the country. And couldn't tell anyone because it was a closed docket. Conspiracy case. Couldn't talk about it. She couldn't tell anyone, not even her own family, what was happening. She had like a 2-sentence liner that she could give that was pretty clear. And we came here and we didn't know what else to do. All of a sudden we got this little apartment and, you know, she's out in the backyard with a woman who just got done drinking that day. You know, that woman's like 5 years sober now or something. And her son is like 9 and, you know, and she's working with, I mean, the fact that any of this can be related to a man's life like mine is incredible, man. How fortunate am I? I was walking the neighborhoods of West Baltimore, places that I just don't belong. But I really did. I ain't no better or different than any of those people, man. But it's a dangerous place to be walking around alone sometimes. And now I'm here, honestly sharing from my heart that I have a wife, one miracle, and that the truth is that we've been given a design for living, and I have any idea what you guys are talking about. It's just such a gift. I brought you, I was waiting on the result. I just got a hepatitis C and AIDS test, HIV test at Mercy Hospital, and a trash bag and a duffel bag with all my belongings at 23, man. That's what I brought y'all. That's what I had. What's up, AA? Help me. You know what I mean? What y'all gonna do for me? You know, like, it's so funny. I'll never forget hearing the guy say that. You know, so many people say, what AA ever do for me? What AA ever do? You know, and this guy finally, like, he caught him. He waited, he bobbed and weaved, and then he slowed down and he waited and he hit him with the hammers. He just said, what have you done for AA? And this dude been in and out for years, and it stopped him dead in his tracks. Just like, you know, I don't know. What? No, like, no, I'm here to get. What are y'all going to do for me? You know? And fortunately, man, you guys have done for me more. So we get the phone call, and it goes to, man, my mind just starts flipping and flapping, and, you know, and the last month has been kind of this walk of like, I don't want to just go too deep into talk about it, 10-step it, 11-step it, blah, 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 you know, focus, right? Like, that's not the design for living. It says that works in rough gun. Doesn't say that. Doesn't say, oh, hey, Jack, you get a call that you might have to do some prison time on the back end of your amends, which you've been talking about for 4 or 5 years. Now you get faced with going to see the judge. You need to inventory this to death. Doesn't say that. Now, I need to be honest about the fear. I need to be honest about the self. I need to be honest about what's going on. I'm not talking about it, but it's been this delicate kind of walk. I'm just trying to bring it to sponsor, right? Bring it to the sponsor to say, hey, what do we got? Help me see what I can't and trust this man. And the direction, and most of the direction is pointed outward, pointed into my home, pointed into my family. Spend time with mom and dad, spend time with your wife. Go turn into your home group, turn to the men that you sponsor. Be a part of the, like, it's never been, man, we need to figure it out, Jack. Thank God. Still haven't gotten that. We need, well, let's really get, no, man. Not don't bring it, but it's just like, but the design for living is turning away from the problem. It doesn't mean let's just ignore it and not look at it and act like it's not there. No. But in some ways, yes. Because you leave it to me, I'm thinking about it all day long. I just like, man, I can't go to work today. I can't do much today. I got to think about this today. We got some thinking to do today. I might call a friend or two. Hey, man, will you think about this with me? I don't really want to hear what you have to say, but I just want you to think about this with me and listen to me talk about what I'm thinking. I mean, you leave it to me, man. I can go there. But the truth is, Jack, why don't you turn away? Why don't you go to that local meeting you haven't been to in a while? Just see who's there. Why don't you just go see? Why don't you just turn towards work and serve your employer that's giving you a job, even though they knew you were on federal pretrial release after being arrested for a federal conspiracy charge? Why don't you go give them some of your time? Why don't you why don't you go to rehab? Why don't you go sit knee to knee? Why don't you go continue to turn into and point towards the power that has brought you to this place? And what happens this weekend? Didn't have any plans, didn't want to do anything, was going to do what we wanted, and it's been on me. And we go up to northern New Jersey, and there's a little 1-day thing going on, and we get to spend some time with some close friends. My sponsor came down. It was a wonderful time. And there was an interactive session on the 4-step, and this guy, Marty, was at the whiteboard, and he's throw out fears. So, who's got what? And I said it. I opened my mouth because I'm stupid. I was afraid of going to prison, And it was almost like he just looked right past, like he didn't even acknowledge it. Like he wrote the word prison down, said it once or twice, but then he just moved on to like work or something. Very like pragmatic for everybody else that was there. And during the break, we were out in the hallway talking about something else, and he stopped me and he looked right through me with all the love in the world. And he just said, we talked a little bit about it, and if it's God's plan, and that's the next assignment. And he said, so then are you really afraid of going to prison, man? And I don't know if you've ever had this experience where someone asks you a question that you've already been asked here, or you've already pondered. And for some reason, the way that they ask it, it pierces through. It's just like, do you really think your wife's going to leave you? Do you really think you're not going to be okay? Do you really think you're not going to be okay when you get out? Do you really believe God's not going to be with you? Are you really scared? And I just stopped. I was stopped dead in my tracks. I just said, you know what, Marty? I don't think so, man. I just really don't want to go. I just don't want to. I'm just a 7-year-old in the sandbox, stomping my feet with my fist balled. I don't want to go to prison. It's part of the reason why they make them prisons, because we're not supposed to want to go to them. So it's obviously a very natural reaction, but it's also like, well, it was a powerful experience. And it was a question I'd been asked before, but it was like, but sometimes, right? Like, and I think it's because of following this design for living. I believe that it's because of the turning away, the continuing to walk, the showing up, the being honest, to see enough of like, man, there's a 90-page attachment. There's a 90-page attachment full of letters. And all they talk about is the last 5 years and the ripple effect of God's love on countless people. It's crazy for me to be like, that's pretty cool, God, but I can't do this for you. And if that be the case, this line will most certainly be a big part of the design for living in a place like that. Who can I sit with? Who can I talk to? How can I help? What can I do? But it would just be crazy for me to now all of a sudden take a step back and look at everything that this power has done in and through me, my life, my family, in a 5-year period, from 6 years sober to 11, and say, I'm not willing to go to a prison camp for 17 months for you, man. I think that's a little much. This man, this power grabbed me from a life where I was going to end up with much larger numbers in much larger trouble. Gifted my heart so that I somehow walked away from this life 9 months before the FBI ever came. Made amends that were on a wiretap. The first piece of discovery entered into the case was an amends taped conversation from Philadelphia. I mean, but listen, it's been real, guy. But these 16 months, I'm going to need to take them back. It's not cool. Can't do it. It's like, and I don't know why, but for some reason right now, at least for the last few days, I've really settled into like, no, I just really don't want to. And part of that is because I live a really good life. And I love a lot of people out here. And a lot of people love me out here. And how fortunate am I? What a great reason to not want to go to prison, man. What a great reason to not want to go away. Like I finally have a home. That's more than just that address. In a community, with a family, in a relationship, where there's honesty and transparency on a level I've never known. A purpose that I had no idea was even possible. But this design for living started in that day that I got arrested. I was so scared. Listen, if one thing I'm not before I get here and never will be in my whole life is a big time. Like I was like a $50 to $80 a day guy. And I know a lot of y'all know exactly what I mean. You know what I'm saying? I needed to stay well. I need 50 to 80. We're going to be all right. We're going to get up the next day. We're going to make it through that day. I'm going to make it to my shift busting tables. I'm going to make it. Hopefully it holds. So I'm not sick when I wake up the next day. This is my life. I never did anything the FBI would even look at. They wouldn't even laugh at it. It wouldn't even cross the radar. The city police weren't even that worried about a guy like I didn't do. I'm in the back of an unmarked vehicle with a federal agent with an arrest warrant that's got the whole United States of America versus my name on it, traveling to an undisclosed location, literally feeling like I'm on an episode of the First 48, about to be interrogated about some stuff. I have no meeting U.S. Marshal. I'm just like, what is actually happening? U.S. Marshals is a movie with Tommy Lee Jones and Wesley Snipes that I will always love. These are not humans I should be encountering. Like, not to mention, we've been back from India for like 3 or 4 weeks. I got a mala necklace on. My hair is blown backwards. I got bliss all in my, like, we've been in India for 6 weeks. Like, I meet the FBI agents with like namaste hands. They grab my hand, put me on the heart of the, like, I was terrified. From that day until this, we've lived in Baltimore. The beginning of that day, our address was Beverly Glen Boulevard, Los Angeles, California, right next to the Westfield Mall. Like, that's where we lived until that day. And I didn't know what to do. And there was a couple people local that reached out, but I didn't know what. So I just started going to meetings, being honest about what was going on to an extent, because I couldn't talk about it that much at that time, and trying to find people that didn't know why they couldn't keep getting unsober, even though they were getting separated physically. And we've lived a really good life for the last 5 years. But that's where it started, propelled by sheer just fear. And just like, what is happening? Oh my, now we're back. We're staying at my mom and dad's in there. They had a 2-bedroom, one of which was a den, one an air mattress in the den. We got this little, like, at the time, I guess she was like 13-year-old dog. She pops the air mattress within it. You know, we're just sleeping on the floor. Like, it's just, you know, and honestly, not a one of us would change any of it. Now, at the time, I'm sure it would have been like, I was terrified of it, you know, but what happens? But what happens? Mom and dad get a son back. Yeah, it was terrifying. And we're really happy that the minute that I got arrested, my mother was at work. So she didn't have to see that. But like, she had to come to the courthouse that day, downtown Baltimore, and watch me be walked out in ankle shackles and handcuffs and released back to their. Nobody wants to see that. We've never been closer. We have never been closer. I mean, maybe before, from like until I was 6 or 7 years old. But I mean, in my adult life, since I was 7, I've never been as connected to my parents as I have been in the last 5 years. My mom has subsequently had 2 strokes and a grand mal seizure. She can't walk very well. She's all right, but she's got bad balance. Some things mentally in the way she communicates have been shifted forever. They had to move to an assisted living. That assisted living is 0.6 miles, 0.6 miles, a 3-minute drive from our front door. It's like you get reinstated into the family as, you know, I got a brother in Miami, Florida, and a brother in the Outer Mesa, North Carolina. And they got Jack, though. He's right here. Jack and Cleo are literally around the corner. We're with them Sunday for brunch. Like, why and how? It's like, you know, you point at the FBI, point at being arrested, point at AA, point wherever you want. This is the light. This is reality. This is what's happened as a result of doing what a lot of you guys have showed me to do for a long time. Some in person, some on Zoom, some from the front of conferences, some right in my local meeting, wherever, whenever. But continuing this kind of simple message of there's a lot of wonderful stuff we get to talk about. There's a lot of cool experiences. There's a lot of great ways to say lots of cool stuff. But the truth is, we're helping each other around here, man, because we can't help ourselves around here, man. And I need y'all. And you told me when I got back here, no matter how scared I was, you need to go find some other people that might need you too, man. You need to set this aside. And remarkable things have come to pass. I think, you know, the joy of living we really have, even under pressure and difficulty. And I just like, I don't get emotional because it's like, you know, we're writing Hallmark cards, or I get emotional because something's really changed my whole life. There's something that I came here and I couldn't believe you guys, man. I've wanted to believe y'all. I did. And it's like everything else. I felt the same way when I got here that I felt every time I showed up somewhere else in my life too, man. Here's everybody up in AA, and here's Jack down here in the corner. He's close. He can sound like him. He can look like him. He can talk like him. He can even probably get a couple of them to lend him some money. But he can't actually do and experience what they're doing and experiencing. He's not actually a part of them. He's just going to con them and scan them like he's done everything else in his life. Talk about some stuff, and then maybe they'll listen, and maybe they'll like me, give me a little validation, and maybe I'll sleep tonight, and then come back and do it tomorrow. You know, like I didn't realize, man, like go some places and you hear people, man, and you realize like we have to do what you did. I have to do what you did, Young. I have to do what you did, Ralph. I have to do what you did, Tommy. I have to do what you did. I don't get to just say what you said and think what you thought and hang. Like, this is a design for living, and thank God. Because the last 5 years of my life, and my wife will attest to this in her own experience as well. As after being arrested by the Federal Bureau of Investigation, moved 3,000 miles across the country, been faced with possible years in prison and a massive restitution number that neither of us have any idea what we're going to even touch, but we're going to come to that as we come to that, have been the best 5 years of our life. The joy of living we truly have. And if you just come step up into our home, you will know that. You will feel that. You will see that. Even if it is in us cleaning up some bad tone we had on each other. Not just you're just going to come in and we're just going to be, oh, no. But you're going to see the joy of living, not the joy of spiritual talking. You're going to see what it's like to live, man. It's so interesting. Is my spiritual life a theory? We were with my wife's sponsor, Marty, up in Philadelphia on Tuesday when my sentencing was supposed to be. It got postponed 23 hours beforehand. That was an interesting hour. You got people flying here from California and Texas. It only took about 45 minutes to get from resentment and anger through fear to raw emotion to come back to. Thank you, God, for pausing this event so that your will can truly be done. And my attorney and this system can have a little more time to look at some stuff that they need to look at. Thank you for that. But it took about an hour, but we got there. But we're in Philadelphia, and we were talking about whatever, and my wife's sponsor, she either looked at me and said, or she said she was talking to someone, but she was just like, is your spiritual life, is it a theory? Or are you living it? And I just, me, if I love you or I respect you and you say something like that, I'm like, oh, I get a little puckered up and go, oh, like, oh, well, I'm pretty sure that, it's like, because the truth is, for me, what's the truth? Depends on the day, depends on the time, depends on who's what. Like, that's the truth. I don't have anything, like, overall, we're living better than we have ever lived. And we are shooting to be as close to God's love for everybody as we can. I'm failing, I'm shooting, I miss a lot. You know what I mean? But I'm just grateful to have a percentage. I'm glad to be shooting, man. I'm grateful to be out here shooting shots. Thanks for letting me share. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to be with you guys. I know how fortunate I am to have not died, to have been brought here, then to have tried to spit in the face of what you presented me through arrogance, selfishness, ego, pomp, worship of other things, as a wise book once said, and to have then been saved yet again and brought back into the fold and be given yet another chance to try to finally live a spiritual life. And the joy of living we have. I mean, these people, I wish I could fully explain the experience of what it's been like reading some of the letters that have been written for this court case. It's crazy to see some stuff on paper. It's insane because I'm just looking at the ripple effect of God's love through Alcoholics Anonymous, through a broken human like myself, into the world. It's insane. And I'm clear where the power is coming from, and I'm clear where the ripples are coming from. But you know where they all started? They all started with somebody, this body, that said, this is what we're doing. This is what I got to go do today, Doc. I need to come talk to one of these guys, man. Because I don't know. I just know I need to talk to drunks. I know I need to try and help drunks. And he helped somebody that helped somebody that helped somebody that helped somebody. And as we've all heard before, just thank God somebody helped me, that we were here. And they didn't say, hey, Jack, what do you know about the book? Or, are you clear on your condition, brother? Like, they didn't say that to me when I got here. They said, hey, Jack, welcome. They probably said, pretty clear you need to be here, buddy, just by looking at you. But they didn't. They could have, but they just, come on in, man. Get a cup of coffee. This guy's going to talk about some stuff in the front of the room. Your mind's probably going to convince you already that you know better, or that he's wrong, or that they're lying, or there's some angle. But just sit down, be with us, man. You know what I'm saying? And I want to continue to honor that, where this Design for Living started. And I want to be helpful, and I want to be walking with you guys, and I want to be doing what this power looks like doing. And the next assignment might be doing that in the prison camp at Fort Dix, New Jersey. That's the truth. That may be the next assignment for 18 to 24 months, according to what the prosecution's asking for. Very possible. I don't know, but that is possible. And I don't want to do that. But if that is the assignment, then let's do it, heads held high, and our feet firmly planted on the ground, trusting that a power is going to be with me the whole time, just like he was as I met the U.S. Marshals on the front end. He's going to be with me on the back end too. And thank God there's a resolution. I opened up my book as I was just looking at the line from where this topic was pulled from. And this was in my book. And it's the obituary of my grand sponsor, Charlie Parker. And it just thought it was interesting that it popped out. I haven't seen it in a while, May 18th. And, just like, this guy really was very, very helpful to my sponsor for a long time. And this deal of people helping people that they don't even know, people extending their hand to people that they've never met, people extending their hand to people that they're then going to extend their hand to someone who might then help this kid that's going to end up having a really powerful experience, going back to the steps at 6 years sober, and may end up facing prison time and is now not even with us. But like, thank God for the people that came before the people that came before the people that helped the people that ended up helping my mother not have to bury her youngest son, because she will for always, forever be so grateful for all of you people, man, that she did not have to bury her youngest son, and that now her youngest son is in the position that they always wanted him to be in, which is one that is now one of their closest friends and someone that can be helped. But this design for living, as demonstrated by you guys, shown through the men that helped me, started to get planted in my heart and my feet, and is having a ripple effect that I got very little to do with, but I'm really stoked to be a part of it. Thanks for letting me share, and thank you, God. Amen.
Hi there. Thank you so much for your time. I really enjoyed your share, and I find your resolve inspirational. And I definitely took a lot from it to sort of adapt in my own life. And I wish you so much peace and power with what's coming up. I've got one question really, and that is for any newcomer who's here tonight, who's on the cusp of realizing what it is they suffer with and what it is that they're going through. What is the one bit of take-home advice that you'd want to nail to them, just so they can have a good shot at getting this?
Man, I guess the first thing I'd say is you're in the right place. There's a lot of people here. You're in the right place. And my experience was I had to start looking at what happened when I put stuff in me. What did it really look like? How was I really doing? And I needed someone else to really help me take an honest look at my life, because I've been lying to myself since I was 4. You know, I had to look at what happened when I put it in me, and then I had to start looking at every time I wanted to stay away from it. Every time I knew somewhere deep, I never wanted to consider putting another human inside of me for some money to get something. I never wanted to even consider thinking about robbing my own mom or taking jewelry to get some more dope or whatever, like whatever that is for you, whether it's just I wanted to get to work on time. But I had to start thinking there were times when the stuff had been removed and I knew I didn't want to do it again. And I found myself doing it again. What you people told me here is you could solve that. So if you're new and any of this is making sense or any of it's resonating, the biggest piece of advice I'd say is raise your hand and let us know you're here, because we don't know you're here if you don't let us know you're here. And start looking at what's really going on in your life. There's people here that want to help you, that want to talk to you. And if you don't want to talk to them or get to know them, that's fine. We just want you here. We just want you with us. These doors are wide open.
Thank you. Thanks for your question, Ollie. Next up, we question Shaz. Please come on in.
Thank you, guys. Shaz, UK cocaine addict. Jack, that was an amazing share, and it's actually the first one ever I've actually started to take notes, because every time someone shares, I'm always missing so much information, and that was just full of information there. Thank you so much for that open and honest share. The question I just want to get back to. So, I mean, that was an excellent question as well earlier on, but I just want to know, like, in terms of when you've reached out to your sponsor, because obviously I'm still quite new to this. I mean, I know it's imperative, but do you think it took you some time opening up to your sponsor from your journey when you set off on your journey with the sponsor, or was that just something that you felt that you had to do from day one, or was it a slow progress or slow process, should I say? Sorry.
No, yeah. I mean, I felt like I knew I needed to do it from day one. Wasn't really, didn't do the best job for a while, Chaz, to tell you the truth. I definitely, it's been a journey just like everything else, and just like it will continue to be, it is, when I started to sit with a man who clearly had experienced certain things in his life very similar that I had, we started to bond in a way I hadn't really bonded with anybody before. And then as I started to write that inventory, and I shared a fifth step with this guy, that bond grew in a whole nother way. But I'm the guy, man, like once you start getting real close to me, my mind will come up with any number of ideas to start throwing up, chill out, don't want to make amends, we don't need to do this, this is too much, this guy's trying to get me honest about everything. But, so I think it's a one step at a time type of deal. It's just whatever you're willing to be honest about with your sponsor in the current moment where you find yourself, drop that rock right on him, bring it to him, build that relationship, and continue to ask for power and willingness to do so is what I would say, man. And hopefully we can all get a little better together, bro. You know what I mean? So yeah, thanks for the question.
Thank you, Shaz. Next up, Ralph. Hi, Ralph. Come on in.
My name is Ralph White. I'm an alcoholic.
Oh man,
Jack, what's happening with you?
good to see you, sir.
Uh, it is good to get updated on what's going on lately. I'm piggybacking on that previous question, but I'm pigeonholing it. Previous question talked about sponsorship in general. In a dark place or in a scary place, got a lot of new people here. What's the benefit, or have you found any benefit in sponsoring? What do you get from being sponsored? And what do you get from in a dark place like this, home group? So what are the things that you lean on? Home group, sponsorship, and I'm gonna add one more piece. I got a lot of questions for you. And you and Cleo, what has been the value of that relationship, and how is that played out in the dark?
First thing that comes to my heart, Ralph, is just like, man, I wonder where I'd be without all that stuff. I'd be a dead man walking, bro. I'd be a dead man walking. I'll start on the backside just because I love her to death. You said her name, so now she's right there, you know. Greatest demonstration that I've seen. More faith than me, clearer than me. On the power is guiding us, and on the power is going to keep us safe and protected and provided for. You know, which my starts going in my head, and she's so it's been incredible. I tell you what, it also, Ralph, on a practical relationship level, it can really point at and really make some stuff fall away that really doesn't matter that much, that we can think matters that much. And you really start valuing time, whether it's in the car or behind closed doors or sitting on the couch watching a movie or whatever it is, man. But just even 20 minutes, it's like you can, you get reacquainted with the value of time with someone that you love and that loves you. And like I said, from where I have lived in the past and came from, being in a relationship like that is absurd currently. So that's been very, very powerful. I can't wait to be at my home group in a couple hours, man. I can't wait to be there. We got a business meeting. We're going to talk about some stuff that I probably think I know better than, and I got to keep my mouth shut, or someone's going to vote on something. I can't wait to be there, man. So I can't wait, to see the people that I'm stoked to see, and some of the folks that my mind's already, I wonder if they're going to be there. They've been missing, I just can't wait to be there, man. I see that church. And I didn't know that, being a part of a home group, that I've heard the phrase, like, that's how I stay tethered to Alcoholics Anonymous, through having a job in that home group. And that's the truth. I got to set up the sound. We got a business meeting. We're going to be talking about a group anniversary. Ralph, let's be honest, man. We're going to be talking about a bunch of stuff I might be in prison for. And I still really want to be there, man. I really want to be there. It's like, what a gift that is. I didn't know that there was that much power in our home group. I thought our home group was something I had to run. I thought a home group was something I had to manage. I didn't know there was power in unity like that. I've heard it. I know I experienced it, but in a dark place, man, when you're looking for light, I'm looking for light. Look at the eyes of my wife. Look at this home group, man, this place that wasn't here, and somehow God saw fit to just grow up. I mean, you start getting real, it's like you can only stay in so much doubt when you're there. You know what I'm saying? Like, the mind can do whatever it wants all day, but then I'm there and I'm looking around. I'm like, yo, what was I flipping out about this morning for? Look at this. Look at what God has done. And I've been able to be a part of it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I know some people have got different opinions and stuff on sponsorship and sponsor reliance and all types of stuff. And Ralph, we know each other well enough. I will answer this question as honestly as I possibly can. I have no idea where I would be if I had not had that man for the last 5 years. I don't know. I don't know, man. And part of that is because of his relationship with the power. I'm clear on that. But I've been scared. I've been stuck. It's been dark there. Just like you said, the word dark, like looking for, and being able to get on a 4-minute phone call and get clicked from 17 degrees off all the way back. Just like, wa-cha-cha. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, man. Damn, Dane, I almost forgot, bro. I almost forgot again. So imperative. So just because he's the one, he knows it all. So he's the one that can take an experience somehow he remembers 2 months ago or 2 years ago and bring it back to my mind and remind me of the truth like that. And then I go and sit with the man I'm working with, or like Matt, who I saw on this call, shows up at my doorstep 2 months ago, 2.5 months ago, has blown his life up sober. We've been working together for years. And this exact experience I'm going through has become useful to another man in the exact moment while I'm still going through the experience. I brought you a trash bag and a duffel bag, man. And you guys gave me that. So yeah, without those things, Ralph, I just thank you, God, for every one of them. Thank you for your friendship. Groups like this, I think I got all 4. I tried to answer the question best I could, man. I did. Good to see you, man. Thank you.
Thank you, Ralph. Lastly, Blaine, would you like to come on in, please?
Hello. Yeah, thank you everybody for the meeting and thank you for your share. I'm Blaine. I'm an alcoholic and an addict. My question is, I'm due to leave treatment soon in a treatment centre, and I'm obviously going to be going to meetings and stuff like that. Do you what's your daily routine on a day-to-day with your meetings and your Zooms? Do you stick to the same things, or do you like to mix it up and do a bit there and do a bit here, but still making sure you're doing that every day? Because with me, obviously I want to stick to a routine, but I fear that I might get a bit bored of the same thing day in, day out, and I don't want that to happen. So do you like to mix it up a bit and do a little bit? Do you know if that makes sense? Do you know?
Oh, it makes perfect sense. You're gonna have a real good time here, man. There's a lot of fun to be had here, man. There's a lot of fun to be had here. For real, there really is. Whether it's going to the same meetings and watching different people grow, or get angry at each other, or just get real happy, or the fellowship is a wonderful thing to be a part of, Blaine. Try to keep in the forefront your willingness to ask somebody to help you go through the steps. Just try to keep that, because what's going to happen there is that experience will continue to make things that even may seem like they're not fresh or new, continue to be fresh or new, which is really important for guys like us, man. Really, really important, because you're going to be having a new experience in the steps with somebody being changed, and that internally, there's going to be an outward expression of that. And the same group that you start before you start the steps, and the same person that you knew before they're going to be changing as you change and grow. So my suggestion would be keep that at the forefront. Check out some different meetings, man. But also, when you find a group of people that you connect with that are talking about the solution, that pull you in, that's like a lifeline, man. Get some consistency and then have at it. Go wherever you want. Have a good time. But keep that, getting somebody to get you into those steps so that internal change can start to happen. And everything's going to just keep getting fresher and newer. And it's been wonderful being here with you guys. I appreciate that question, but it's been wonderful being here with you folks, man. I feel so fortunate. My heart is so full.